Good afternoon. Today I would like to discuss two primary sources from America's historical imprints that could enhance a standard American History 1 course in the study of the American Revolution. The first message is from a loyalist perspective, and the second message is from a patriot point of view. The first message is from loyalist minister Thomas Bradbury Chandler, titled, "A Friendly Address to All Reasonable Americans on the Subject of Our Political Confusions." Chandler addresses his 1774 message to his friends, countrymen, and fellow subjects, urging them to not join other colonists in the defiant rebellion against Great Britain. He reminds his audience of the numerous blessings Americans had received from Great Britain. Chandler states how the king's subjects in America had the least ground for complaint, and that the present confusions of the colonies was because of misinformation and false alarms. According to Chandler, the duty on tea was not unreasonable. In addition, the crime of the Bostonians in destroying the tea was a crime of the grossest injury and insult towards the government and deserved punishment. Chandler forms a biblical basis for his argument by pointing out how both St. Peter and St. Paul condemned insurrections against established governments, even wicked ones. Therefore, any rebellion from Americans against England was unacceptable because Great Britain had authority over the colonies. Furthermore, Britain was not oppressing the colonies, like some were suggesting. However, if rebellion continued, Chandler warns that the judgment of heaven would fall upon America, and the colonies would not be able to stand against England. Therefore, he admonishes them to open their eyes to the danger that surrounded them, count the cost, and remain loyal to the king. The second message is a sermon by Patriot minister Samuel Langdon, delivered on May 31, 1775, before the Congress of the Colony of Massachusetts Bay. In contrast to Chandler, Langdon emphasizes how Great Britain, without mercy, placed heavy burdens upon Americans. Furthermore, in referencing the events at Lexington and Concord, Langdon points out how the British acted the part of robbers and savages by burning, plundering, and damaging almost every house and murdering the unarmed and helpless. Despite the humble petitions from the colonies, the king resolved to use cannons, muskets, and bayonets. Langdon bases his sermon on the prophecy of Isaiah. Just as God brought the kingdom of Israel to destruction because of its iniquities, so he would punish Great Britain. Regarding Great Britain, Langdon says that there was no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. As a result, God would change their glory into shame. Langdon also points out how America was not innocent of crime against God, but had lost much of the spirit of genuine Christianity. Therefore, Americans were to humble themselves under God's mighty hand, repent, implore divine mercy, and defend America from Great Britain. The Lord would then be their refuge and strength. They would have no reason to fear, even though thousands of enemies set themselves against them. Both of these primary sources would serve well to introduce the American Revolution in American History 1. Using information literacy competencies to educate online students, it would be helpful to assign students both readings to analyze and assess, requiring them to complete a discussion assignment with their classmates. Their 300 to 450 word discussion post would be in response to the following questions. Number 1, comparing and contrasting the messages from Chandler and Langdon, what were some of the key underlying issues leading up to the American Revolution? 2, what is the biblical worldview of both clergymen, and how do the principles they value differ? And 3, who is more convincing in their argument, Chandler or Langdon, and why? To further educate students on information literacy, students would have to provide a 100 to 150 word response to 2 other posts, referencing one additional primary source for each post. One could adjust this assignment in the residential setting by placing students in small groups. Each small group would answer a particular question from the readings, integrating an additional primary source to their analysis, and present their findings to the class. Both online and residential pedagogical approaches would allow students the opportunity to work with primary sources in building skills in research, analysis, communication, and overall scholarship, as well as applying a biblical worldview. Thank you.